Just back from more than a week away. I was out in Oregon for work. I have to go there every year around the first week of August, and I'm super excited to be home. It's that time of year when it's super easy to go out to the garden and just grab everything you need for an awesome lunch. Going up to the hoop house. I think I've got a bunch of tomatoes and cucumbers ready. So that's what I'll be having for lunch.
As is indicated in one of my favorite, apparently unattributed proverbs, the best fertilizer is the footsteps of the farmer. It can be easy, especially once things really start coming into fruit, to go to the closest ripe tomato, pick it, and go back to the kitchen. But every plant in the hoop house and garden needs the same amount of observation. I try to make it a habit to pass everything, keeping my eyes open all the while till I get to the end. Only then do I turn around and start harvesting. This forces me to see everything, and puts me out into places in the nights and weekends homestead gardens, which many visitors seem to think is quite large. I disagree, since I'm always wishing for more space, that I wouldn't normally see if I just went for the instant gratification of the closest harvest. I find this time of year always highlights one of my most difficult decision points in the hoop house. How many plants can I get in here? Too few, and I'm wasting some of the most valuable real estate on the homestead. The hoop house is, after all, the place where I have the most control over the growing conditions, meaning I have the most opportunity for successful production. But too many plants, and I run into other problems. The airflow is already limited, and putting more plants in reduces it further, increasing disease pressure, especially for things like light blight on the tomatoes, which likes humidity and stagnant air. Another issue presented by too many plants is the lack of space for me. I used to plant a full 17 plants in each row of the hoop house, which is one per hoop and one per space between the hoops. But I found over many years that the added production of a plant on each end was not worth the time and frustration of having to walk all the way to the end of each row to get to the next row. Taking out just the two end plants allows me a little more flexibility and space between plants, meaning I can find an occasional opening in the row to cross into the next. Even though a not insignificant voice in my head is super annoyed by not planting on the ends in the spring, this time of year there's another voice that smirks smugly back at the spring tantrum-throwing voice as I step into another row with relative ease. Let's not forget dessert, the first blueberries of the season. This is a pretty good haul, considering the only thing I'd harvested from the hoop house prior to heading to Oregon for work was a single cherry tomato and a handful of cucumbers. I don't much care for leaving Maine for the best 10 days of the year, every year, but at least when I get home, things are in full swing.